Hey there, welcome to another Toolbox Tech Talk. Yep, it's the time of the weekend. It's a Sunday, it's 2 o'clock here in Melbourne. It's probably even earlier in Western Australia, but I'll come to that in a minute. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining us on probably, I don't know, I haven't kept count, but I don't know, 40th, 50th Toolbox Tech Talk. They just keep on coming. This all started some time ago just due to lockdown, having Sundays, well, a little bit freer, do some fun stuff. But, I'm going to start as usual with an acknowledgement of the traditional owners, the Wurundjeri people of the land that I'm living on right now. But also, I'd like to acknowledge the iwi, the people of my hometown, which is in New Zealand. So that's the Whanganui-a-Tara. So, yeah, I'm Kiwi, I'm from New Zealand, but I've lived here for 30 years. So it's great to acknowledge our traditional owners from our homelands. Anyway, today's guest is Rohan McGlew. Now, Rohan, he's been working in the solar industry since 2003, where he started with solar energy systems way back then, and they're based in Perth. So Rohan, he lives in Perth, obviously, and he just loves the beach, lucky guy, mountain biking, sports, solar, and of course his family. So, yeah, Rohan, how's it going there?
Good, thanks, Glenn.
You've got to wear shades inside. It's the way. It's the way.
I can't be as cool. I try to be cool, but it hasn't worked out for me.
Well, look, I'm doing this whole going around Australia talking to installers and solar industry people and, a wide range. And so you're kind of like my pick from WA. You actually, someone suggested you, one of the cutters actually, and I thought, well, I haven't met you before, but I love getting to know more of the industry. We might have met at a conference, but, it's always like this, crossing paths sometimes. So, yeah, look, the thing that's really dominating the industry at the moment, of course, is all the COVID shutdowns here on the eastern seaboard. But how's it going in Perth?
Look, we've got a nice little bubble over here, Glenn. We seem to have a snap lockdown. As soon as there's 1 or 2 cases, we'll snap lockdown and seem to be able to nip it in the bud. So we've been extremely lucky. Everyone over here has been, I think, quite compliant. So, touch wood, everything will be okay. And, last year was a bit tough, I think, like for everyone else. And we had our challenges like everyone else did, but WA's been able to rebound from that. Mining certainly had a bit of an uptick as well. So that's been really good for the economy. But yeah, it's pretty much business as usual over here.
Yeah. I saw Gladys Berejiklian talking about New South Wales being the biggest state. She obviously hasn't measured the land mass of New South Wales lately. Probably was talking population, but yeah. You are in a very enviable position, and we know how quickly that can change. But you're soldiering on. The vaccination rates are going up. You're probably going to make it without one of these nasty long. I mean, Melbourne, we've been 203 days of lockdown, I think. It's just like the new normal is stay at home.
Yeah, it's hard for everyone over here, I think, to comprehend how tough it's been for everyone over there. I mean, certainly we can think back to last year, where we can't even remember how long we were locked down for, but nowhere near as long as Melbourne, and certainly not as long as Sydney probably will be either. So, we're pretty removed from it, I think. So yeah, we're lucky, but we certainly think of everyone over east.
I mean, on the personal side, I've got to know a lot about my kids' education through homeschooling, and it's amazing how the little public school they go to has managed to kind of do it all online. So hats off to the education department.
Yeah, I think it's brought apart. I think it's brought in a lot of working from home and some tech that was already existing, but is now part of day-to-day life. And for me, I'm a huge fan of working from home or doing video meetings. They certainly don't drag on very long. You're short and sharp and to the point. So I think that's been a real plus for the industry, and it's been able to link up probably a lot more people. I probably speak to more people around the country now than I ever have, and doing it via video, which has been great.
Yeah, I wonder why we ever used to fly across the country for a meeting. It seems so stupid. Yeah. Hey, let's just turn into the solar industry a little bit here. So tell me your solar story. How did you get going?
Oh, look, originally, I think, my fascination for solar started really early. I went to Tandy Electronics and I bought a solar cell and a soldering iron and a little light, and I tried to make, a perpetual light, basically. I never actually got there, but ended up charging a little battery off it and running my light. So I was always interested in solar, and in 2003 I looked for something different, and there was a job at Solar Energy Systems. It was a publicly listed company over here in WA. CEO was Anthony Maslin for that, and he's a great guy, and Chris Middleton was there as well. He's still in solar today. I learned a tremendous amount from them. Tim Webber was also there. He's at Solar Gain. Now he's a great wealth of information. So had a really solid grounding. There we manufactured water pumps, did little wrap systems, did a lot of water pumping development too, and sent pumps off to remote islands to help communities get fresh drinking water, and things like that. So it was a really, really good business. And then that business raised some money and bought Solco and Choice Electric. So I had the privilege of getting to work with John Cooper, who was a guy who taught me an immense amount about solar and life. And so it was good. So I had a grounding in setting up remote power systems, water pumping systems. And then when we bought Solco and Choice and pushed all them together, we had solar hot water manufacturing, and then obviously PV distribution, which was a huge step for us. And so within that, I got to travel around the country, setting up dealers and networks for pumping solar hot water. And we're probably a year or two too early, maybe a couple of years too early. But the idea was sound, getting networks set up to do PV, hot water, pumping, off-grid. Everything was pretty expensive back then. I can't remember exactly, but I think the pricing of the Shell Siemens 90 watters that we originally got were between $6 and $10 a watt or something like that. It was crazy, and so look, I stayed there for a long time, and that was a really good place to work, and we achieved a lot there, and saw a lot of growth. And then I took off to London and worked over there doing. Actually, funnily enough, we'd worked with Fronius and Sharp almost exclusively in Perth, and then I flew to London and got a job with a company doing Sharp and Fronius and also Unirack as well. So that was the racking system we'd use. So we're doing hot water and PV systems in central London, which was really exciting and completely different.
PV in central London.
Yeah, it was crazy. So you're looking at roughly, for a 1.5 kilowatt system, about a week to do an install. You'd spend a day setting up the SCAF, and you'd always have to have a tea break and a packet of crisps, and make sure those things were covered perfectly well. But so we did systems over there, and it was great. It was a great bunch of guys to work with, and interesting working on the roofs. I don't know if there was a lot of parapet walls over there with a lot of incremental shading across the modules during the day. So, but anyway,
they were pretty generous feed-in tariffs too back then.
Yeah, it was huge. Yeah, they had some big stuff, and they also had a lot of stuff to do with the council. So the councils actually had huge green funds that they needed to spend. So even though the cost was, incredibly high, they actually subsidised them quite significantly. So it made it affordable for people to get in.
Can I just stop you at London? So I wanted to go back to the early days of solar pumping. Now, you've sent me a few pics, and we've got one that's going to bring it up on the screen of I think it's called Young Rohan. So tell me a bit about Young Rohan. What was he up to here?
Yeah, so we got, it's good. We're really hands-on. So we got to do sales, and then we'd go and do installation as well. So in there, we had a proprietary light sensitive tracking system. So it had some LED resin encoded light sensor at the top and just a linear actuator down the bottom to control the array. So all this would get manufactured in Perth, and we'd assemble all that, take it to site, put it in. The thing I like about this photo, Glenn, is that it was my first one, and I hadn't measured the length of cable between the pump and the array.
Oh,
so
I can see it.
Yeah. So I actually had to come back and do that. It was my first pump that I'd put in. But that was actually a 660 watt system with 110 watt Shell Siemens, and then we had a little plastic piston pump there called the Sunmill, and you can still get them today. Actually, Chris Middleton still does them today. But yeah, it was a polymer piston pump, so it could handle brackish water, dirty water. It was maintainable in the field. It was a great little system. And then we just had a 60 volt DC motor. I think it was EWP. I can't remember the brand, but yeah. Look, so we do that. That one actually was going to a header tank to water almonds, I think, surprisingly, but most of them were for stock watering, taken out either salty water or just pumping to header tanks or to troughs around properties.
Yeah, people probably don't realise that solar pumping was really the main thing for solar industry back in the early 2000s. It was where most of the solar panels went because the ROI was there already. You didn't have to kind of convince people it was green and good. It was just cheap.
Yeah, and once people got one, they would be back for, it would be quite often you'd sell one just to see the farmer or whoever bought it would say, look, we'll check it out and see how it goes. And they're just astounded at how well they worked, and they'd be back and get another half dozen for their property and just start switching everything over from windmill to these. They're all ground maintainable. You didn't have to climb anything. So it was great.
I do remember those actuators, though. They didn't like gusty winds.
They don't like actually anything, Glenn. We actually, when we ended up selling them with a little tiny candle Anatech and a zip tie, so they could just hang them on the array, and every time the farmer went by, he could just spray in some Lanatech in there. Because they ended up seizing up quite a lot. But if you Lanatech the hell out of them, they got a little bit of life. But John Cooper was a cracker with this. He used to just say, look, why would you put a moving part with the only form of renewable energy that has no moving parts? He was the one that sort of got me onto that thinking, and so I was off tracking after a while, and as soon as the pricing of panels came down, the fixed array just made total sense.
Yeah, it really is the economics. That was $10 a watt, and we'd sub $1 a watt. It doesn't make any sense to track a small array.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, so let's carry on. You got to London. You're putting panels on steep pitched roofs with little parapets to stop you falling off.
Yeah.
What happened after that?
So after that, so we stayed there for about a year and had our first child over there, and then came home. And I went back to Solco for a little bit, and then went and started up my own business. Retailing over here. It was great. I loved it, and wasn't ready to go the next step in that business when I was there, and got an opportunity to work at Infinite Energy. So the previous founder of that company, Aidan Jenkins, gave me an opportunity to work there, and it was really exciting. That was when was that? That was 2010, I think 2011, 2012, maybe 2012 actually. I started there, and look, we were probably staff of 6 or 7 back then, and we weren't in sort of relative obscurity in the in the market, but we were amongst a group of probably 20 or 30 retailers that weren't doing much, and True Value was the clear leader.
That was when the 5-time multiplier was still around, I think.
Yeah, and there was actually 5 times up to, was it 1.5
kilowatts? Yeah.
And there was actually 5 times up to, I think, 20 up north.
I remember the day they announced it was ending at midnight, and the phone never stopped ringing.
Yeah, look, we had some funny nights, funny days and nights at Infinite in the early days, especially when Queensland, we used to sell in Queensland as well, and we'd be up all night on the phones when rebates were ending, and everyone was freaking out that it was solar Armageddon and you'd never get another rebate. And so yeah, look, it was a lot of fun. So that there was a team of us at Infinite, and we drove that business hard, and we went from sort of the minority up to the majority, and us and Solar Gain overtook True Value, and the two of us sort of sat head to head, with roughly 10 to 12% market share for quite a long time. And look, it was a really good time. It was a time of huge growth, and we went from 7 odd people, and we basically employed a person a month for about 5 years, and it just kept going and growing and growing, and it was really exciting. Commercial solar was, we got to see it in its infancy. Steve Richards, who I worked with there, started, was he the first commercial solar person in WA? He would have been one of the first getting systems up for sure. It was really exciting. I think our first one was around 30 kilowatts. It was just a really exciting time. I still remember it. I remember the first 100 we did, and they was Conergy Power Plus 240 watt modules, and they were the holy grail of panels. And
tell me, have you done your first 100 kilowatt upgrade? Like take them all off and put new panels on again?
I don't think so. Probably not ourselves, but we've we'll be doing replacements for sure. Maybe not the hundreds.
It's pretty common on the residential market, but we haven't quite hit it with the commercial market yet. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of partially used panels hitting the ground soon.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of panels that are folding to earth that'll be ripped off, and hopefully they can get recycled properly.
Do you have any recycling in the West for solar panels?
I don't think we do, but we pay I should have known who this is, but we actually pay, I think it's around $10 a module, I think, and I think they end up going back to SA or back to Vic, but we make sure that they do get recycled. So, yeah, we're really conscious of it. So we stockpiled all our old panels, and then we waited until there was a proper way to recycle them. So they're all getting shipped off now.
Wow, good on you. Because there's Lotus Energy here in Melbourne. They will take panels from anywhere basically, but there's also in South Australia another company whose name eludes me. $10 a module, I think, is the going rate, or
I think that's right.
a kilo. Yeah.
But I think that's really important because they either, number one, end up in landfill, which isn't good, but also there's a market for people sending them off to Africa, and from my experience, it appears that the people who are selling them over there are just profiting out of it, and they're getting lumped with panels that might be delaminated. They're different voltages, so I don't actually know what they're using those panels for or what they're claiming they're going to be used for. But I dare say a lot of the stuff that gets shipped over to Africa that's secondhand, that I've seen, is partially damaged and not even working. So we're just handballing a problem to another country. Sort of like that textile documentary that was on ABC. It's shocking. So we're really for that.
Hey, you've got a few fans out there. Just g'day, Nick.
Oh yep.
So Nick says hi, and we've also got Daniel.
Oh yeah, Danny Overd. No, he's a good guy. So
you got lots of fans actually. Rohan, so Rob.
Yeah.
And who else we got? We got Jake.
Oh, Jake. I've still got to learn more from Jake. He's he's up there.
That's great. So, yeah, I mean, you started talking about some of the challenges in terms of, running a business. What would, be your current challenges, in the industry?
Uh, so I'm actually just changing businesses at the moment. So I start on Monday at West State Electric. So it's probably 50 odd staff down there. And I'd say probably the challenges at West State and the challenges at Infinite Energy are probably quite similar. It's to do with staffing and holding on to good staff, training. The industry is constantly looking out for people who have got experience and knowledge. I know in Perth that we haven't been directly affected by it, but I know a lot of companies poach and will take installers for better rates and things like that. And look, from my experience in it, half of them go and leave, and then half will come back and say, "God, where I went was terrible." We're installing stuff that people have paid, what they would say significantly more than what it was worth, and got oversold the system. So there's some challenges there with staff retention. And I think probably the challenge over here is probably not Western Australia specific, but is how we maintain a level of quality of the product that goes out. I mean, the level of the quality of install is a separate issue as well. But having products out there that can stand up and be supported, I think is probably one of the most crucial things for consumers and for retailers. We see so many products, and in my time, we've replaced just so much product that is either delaminated or inverters don't even make it past a couple of days. That's probably a bit of an exaggeration, but there's plenty that there's plenty of brands that we've had customers ring us and just say, "Look, can you just come and put a different inverter in?" We've had 3 replacements, 4 replacements, and that's not good. It's not good for the industry. It's not good for anybody, the environment. So we want to make sure that we've got good product and good installation. So there's some of the challenges, and I think for WA, the challenge over here is how the network holds up with such an influx of solar going onto it.
You've got incredibly high solar penetration, particularly around Perth.
It's off the charts, so which is great, and we just got to learn how to manage it. So we have negative pricing days more often than not now, and we'll come into them sort of shortly. We're in spring, between spring and summer. That's we see negative pricing a lot during the day, and how we manage that. I'm surprised we don't have.
You're saying negative pricing at the residential level, or just on the wholesale market?
On the wholesale level, yeah.
Because that AMC's approved the rule for negative pricing for customers in the Eastern Seaboard. So So
we're still regulated over here, so we don't have a deregulated market. So we'll wait and see what happens there. But certainly exporting, I would have thought we wouldn't be allowed to export now, but we still are.
Hey, we've got some helpful advice, by the way, on recycling. A couple of people have just commented. So coming up is Scott. G'day, Scott. You're a regular on the show. And look, WA solar recycling. So don't go very far. Yeah, should check that. Thanks, Scott. I'm really pushing, awareness of all the recycling options now. I'm looking forward to more battery recycling. Also, we've got Herb from South Africa. So Herb is just pointing out that these panels will be great in rural areas where there's no grid infrastructure. But I think you pointed out some of them are just rubbish anyway. It's the selecting those that have still got life in them.
Yeah. Oh, look, you can. Look, I mean, if you can replace them and use them, the other challenge is finding if you've got people want a cheap system or a cheap secondhand panel, well, they're probably not going to spend a couple of $100 on a decent regulator. And so the cheap regulators probably can't handle the voltage of some of the higher voltage panels. So you've got issues with that. But you can also claim STCs as well on new modules. So even if was it Bert? Sorry, his name just dropped off. But
Herb. Yep.
Oh, Herb. Sorry, Herb. So you can still claim STCs and maybe make it viable with a new module, but go for it. I mean, there's plenty of places that can probably help donate some offcuts of rail and bits and pieces like that to help make an array for secondhand modules. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right. So we were chatting before the show the other day, and you were saying, some of the things you kind of like wish you hadn't done. I believe you invented the free panel giveaway.
Oh, we might have. I think we were looking at ways to get creative and really drive larger systems. I think back when the multiplier was on, there was this real drive towards 1.5. And we just sat there and went, well, why don't we do this on a 6, 7, 8 kilowatt system and drive that side of the market? So where the market over here was just sitting at sort of 1.5 and 3, we made a conscious decision to sell the benefit of a high feed-in tariff and additional panels. And so we looked at the numbers and worked out that we could offer 1 or 2 free panels on a system, and it took off. We dominated and got a lot of traction in the market, and it wasn't too long after that I think True Value then had the spinning panel on the screen, and with 2 free panels, and then 4 free panels, and then 50 free panels. And
I think someone was offering a set of steak knives at one point for real, and a Bunnings $500 gift voucher.
Yeah. I mean, it's perfect. It's I love it. I like the steak knives. So I might try and bring that back actually.
Hey, you've got some more pictures you were going to share with us. We're going to chat about. So I don't know if you've got those that you can share easily. No big hurry on that one. And Herb's also asking about how he can get hold of you, but I don't want to do that live. You might want to just take that off the channel.
Yeah, sure.
But I think Herb's interested in where he can get some secondhand panels, and there's more choices than just going to one installer. There's going to be a lot of panels which are being stockpiled in many places. It might be, Herb, a case of just reaching out through social media and saying, I've got a need. Anyone, can donate some panels. I think the shipping's going to be the problem. I mean, at the moment, shipping costs have gone through the ceiling. So really, it may not even be economically viable to ship them.
Yeah, I think was Herb in SA?
South Africa.
Oh, I was in South Africa. Oh, right.
Well,
okay.
SA, but South Africa, SA.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I can contact him afterwards.
Cool.
And see. But yeah, he's still going to run into the same problem. We will have ripped systems off, and you need to test every panel. And by the time you do that and pay for that, package it up and ship it, it's probably cheaper to buy new panels that are reliable and got a warranty on them too. So, but anyway, that's cool. I can try and help with that.
Did you get the picture? You haven't pressed share. Share.
What do I have to do?
Yeah, share window. Choose the picture you want to share.
Hang on.
I'll just play a few tunes while we're sitting here.
Yeah. Hang on. Window.
Welcome to the lounge.
Okay, is that up now?
No, it's still the previous one. You have to stop sharing before you reshare.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Sorry.
Oh, Scott says, I have a contact. Good on you, Scott. So Scott, I have a contact for shipping to South Africa. I think there's going to be a little bit of discussion after the show in the comments. And so, so he's already sent working panels there. Well done. So Herb, meet Scott. Scott Phillips, he's on Facebook at the moment. Herb's on YouTube. You probably need to get together and chat about that.
He's got a shipping port up in Geraldton he can ship them out of as well, so that's good.
Cool. Right, here's one. Now, this show is kind of called Toolbox TechTalk, so we could talk a bit of tech about this one. Tell me the story behind it.
It's probably the same as many stories. It's a really nice combination where you've got a single phase property, wanting backup and power independence. Yeah, I mean, we like Fronius. It's a good product to work with, and Tesla is an exceptionally good battery to work with too. And paired together, they provide homeowners, I think, probably one of the best combinations you can get on the market. The software on both is incredibly easy and good to use. And so, like most of these owners, they want to have a bit of power independence when the grid's out, and be able to control their battery as well. So look, it's a pretty standard job for us in Perth. That combination.
So that's the new Tesla Gateway.
Yep.
With the 13.4 kilowatt hour Tesla battery, just one.
Just one. Yep.
And the Fronius Primo, what is it? The 5?
That'll be a 5. Yep.
Yeah.
So we've got a limitation of 5 kilowatts AC on a single phase here, so we can't go above that. So
what about the Tesla solar inverter? Have you seen one of those?
I haven't seen one yet, but I'm keen to see what it's got and how it goes for sure. Yeah. Right. Have you seen one?
Only pictures on the Cutters page, so no, haven't got my hands on one. They look very much like the Gateway, sort of white, simple, just great styling. Yeah. Hey, before we go off that picture, hold on that picture for a second. So I wanted to talk about something that's an area of sort of confusion with the battery standard at the moment. So it's something that, being on the committee, I'm quite close to, but now the technical questions start coming in for clarification. And one of them is, it says that for a DVC B or C battery system, or BESS, which a Tesla is operating at 240 volts on its output terminals, AC, so it's DVC-C. You need 900 mils of clearance on the working side of the battery system. Now, the working side's the left-hand side where the AC isolator is. It doesn't kind of make sense that there's a hazard by working there. I mean, I think this comes from a battery room where you open doors and you need clearance for rescue, but the wording doesn't say that. The wording just says 900 mils clearance on the working side of the battery. So I know in Victoria, where inspection is mandatory on every system, people are being pulled up on this one. They go, no, you can't put it that close to a recessed wall.
Yes, you're right. Look, it's a tough one, isn't it? For us, we would view that as okay. It's also, that one hasn't got its bollard in yet, but it also makes for a safer installation in the garage too, while it's behind the pillar. It's
protected by the pillar, which is much stronger than any bollard you could ever put in.
Yeah. So look, that's it. I'm not sure the age of that one, so I'm not sure if that was in, during that period or not, but I can check that out.
I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's ambiguous.
Yeah, it is really ambiguous.
For those who might be in other states who have been picked up on this one, it's still lacking clarification. So ERAC have actually produced a clarification document, but it doesn't cover this point. So, yeah, we're still in that area of, some say yes, some say no. You've got another picture there.
Yep. So we've got a Gen 24 and a BYD system. That's another Primo. That's a 5 kilowatt Gen 24 with the BYD. It's probably, that system, I probably tend to favour DC coupling, although I'm not wedded to it, but I like the flexibility with DC and especially being able to oversize the PV array. That's probably my favourite bit, is that we can get full utilisation out of that inverter across the whole day. So rather than it just operate at peak for 1 hour a day, if we can find the right roof and we can spread out the array, north, south, east and west if we have to, we can have that inverter running, pretty much at full tilt all day long. And so that's the benefit with DC coupling, and also a good inverter and a good battery. And the BYD scalable as well. So we're really happy with them. We haven't, done hundreds of them yet, not like Tesla, but from the beginning, they've been really good. They've been easy to set up, certainly easier to install in harder places compared to Tesla or an all-in-one battery solution. So there's benefits there.
Yeah, we've got the same setup, as though it's the Gen 24 SIMO with the BYD HVS here in the lab. How did you like the startup procedure with the battery? You've got to get everything just right to get it all to turn on.
Yeah, look, we found it pretty good. We did a lot of training as well with Rod and Seb back at Fronius to make sure we got that right. But yeah, once we had it, it was actually pretty good.
And did you have a backup circuit on that?
This one I'll have to check.
Using the PV point, or
I don't think this is set up yet for PV point or backup. This is actually one of the installer's houses, so he might have done some more work to it since then.
For those who don't know what the PV point is, it's a rather unusual implementation of backup where the circuit is always disabled until the grid fails, and then it enables. But it will even work without batteries if you've got enough renewable input. So you can have a no battery system during the day creating AC with no grid.
Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it? Like, I never thought they'd be able to do that, but they can. And Fronius isn't the only product that do it. But yeah,
GoodWe, SolarX, NEDAP, they also can do that.
Yeah, I think Delta as well can do that. So yeah, it's really exciting.
So you got another one for us?
All right. Yeah, so that's another one. That one did have a backup circuit put in. We ran that one with the switched in controller too, just to see what the switched in was like. That's only pretty recent, so we'll be checking out that and seeing how it goes. But same again, customer wanted a larger solar array on their roof. They used a lot of power during the day, and they had a great northeast and west roof for it to go on. So the battery bank actually isn't that big for if you looked at the load on the house, but the house load was quite significant. And so, yeah, I can't remember. I think that was about a 12 kilowatt array on that one. And
single phase?
No, it's a 3-phase.
Oh, it's the SIMO. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was really good. The customer wanted more battery, and I think this is something that that hopefully happens with other retailers. The customer wanted a huge battery bank, and I just said, you're not going to be able to utilize it. Like, your load's too high during the day. We'll put a small bank in, and to have some redundancy there if the power goes out. And that was his driver. That was his driver for that system, and away we go. And even now, look, the battery still fills, but his loads are still extremely high. So yeah, that was the story behind that one.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, batteries don't make renewable energy. They just store it. So your biggest cost savings are on the generation side, not the storage.
Yeah, and I think people just, and I think the Tesla's probably a classic. People just go and buy a Tesla. And look, 13 kilowatt hours is probably the right number in terms of, if you just had to throw a dart at a board, 13 is probably a good number. But for some people, it might only be 5. And if the house has got terrible shading in winter, then you've probably got 3 or 4 months of the year where you're not even utilizing your battery. So everyone uses an ROI of always 100% utilization, full discharge every day, and it's simply not the case. So then you get people on Today Tonight going crazy about I've got underfloor heating, and I don't know why my
you saw that one. Why the Tesla didn't work when the grid failed.
Work. Yeah. It's like, that's awesome. That was great. I really enjoyed watching that.
Yeah, it's good to have a comedy show on solar. Hey, before you go off this one, so I know Switched-In really well. I'm a test facility for them here, and they're for those who don't know Switched-In, they're Newcastle-based smart energy management and monitoring solution, probably one of the leading ones in Australia. Like Western Power have done some huge projects with them recently. But I'm curious, what's the application here for a Switched-In product?
Look, we put it in so we could self-charge the battery when we wanted to. That was the main driver. So the customer said, I want to be able to charge the battery whenever I want, and I wanted to do it easily. And so Switched-In gave us the ability to do that for the client.
Through the app.
Yep.
Yep.
So that was the single driver for that one. We also wanted to see what it was like in conjunction with that, and if he wanted to upgrade again. So if he wanted to put another Gen 24 on, then the switched in controller allows us to then control multiple Gen 24s.
Look, I've been so impressed with the switched in team. Look, I'm not sure if I'm special or something, but I just say to them, "Can you do this?" They go, "Yes." It was next week, okay? And I go, "Yeah, right." They're just kind of like they're doers. They can solve problems. Yep. Their engineers are amazing. Hey, got another one?
Yep. Yeah, I'll fling through. Look, this is a
is
little,
that the biggest system you've done lately?
It's up there. They're 5 kilowatt panels, and now look, that's actually just a little one I thought we'd put up that we did at the Army Barracks in Swanbourne here, just to power a radio. So we're not always doing massive stuff. We also do little stuff as well. That's with SunPower. That was with they're probably 320s, I think. Just running a little Victron regulator in there for them. So that was, that's probably enough on that one.
Hey, speaking of rifle ranges and solar panels, look, I've actually just recently got some panels back from a customer that we installed 12 years ago because they were upgrading, and they're Unisolar amorphous silicon. And
the 64 watts.
The 64 watt models. And I remember an installer from Albury told me that he had someone shoot at them and they still worked.
And that's true. That's true. When I used to do pumping, we used to do Unisolar. So the great panel, the biggest problem was they're all ribbed, and so the dust would get in there. So you'd have to give them a good spray out to get good performance out of them. But I've seen one shot as well and still be water pumping. Yeah. So that's true. It does happen. They're a very good panel actually. All right. The next one's just a small little system that was done at Parks and Wildlife in the southwest. Small little ground mount, and that's the Selectronics and Fronius combination there.
It's a very popular off-grid combination.
It's good.
Managed AC couple from Selectronic Fronius.
Yep. So that's sort of our go-to product over here when we're doing off-grid. It's been really reliable and solid and no problems.
I'm interested how you mounted them on. It looks like box aluminium. Is that because it was pre-built like that and then delivered to site?
It wouldn't have been pre-built like that and delivered. No, that would have been done on site. I didn't do that one, so I can't tell you exactly what happened with that, but that wouldn't have been pre-done. We would have done that. Yeah,
you have to build something. You can't just hang off that corrugated aluminium very easily. Like corrugated zinc.
Corrugated tin. Yeah. And look, this was just another 3-phase one we did down at a school, so that had DC and AC coupling on it as well. I'm not sure where the regs are for that one.
So you've got the Lynx system from Victron, those 1000 amp hour bus bars, Lynx distributor and Lynx input. I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, they're awesome, aren't they? For a way of bringing in some high current cables and having it all look good.
They make it look really easy, and the fact you can parallel them up or parallel them up behind is great as well. So that's a perfect example of seeing how they both fit together. Yeah, they're great. We do them for our battery cabs. We use them every time.
I mean, for the price, you probably couldn't build a bus bar that cheap. So why would you bother? And they've also got monitored fuses, so you can put string fusing in there. Yep.
So they're good. But that was I'm pretty sure that's the high school down south that we did, and that ran BYD. That's the BYDs there for that one.
Yep, I think you can do 35 of those in parallel.
It's horrendous, isn't it? It's crazy. So
what are they? 13.8, I think.
I think you'll be better than
Pros.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, and I knew that their number was incredible. How many you could put together. So.
Can I don't want to look. I'm trying to be a bit of a techie guy here, but they've only got a single pole fuse inside. on negative, I think it is, from memory. It's two 150 amp fuses in parallel on the negative bus bar. So the new battery standard requires double-poled overcurrent protection for parallel battery systems.
Okay.
So, if you were doing that again, you would have to have an additional overcurrent protection on each of the poles, not just the one that's provided.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for that.
And this is a case where, Australia changes the regs, but it takes a while for international manufacturers to sort of, notice or even care, because where it might be a small market for them. So it's up to us to bring the compliance outside of the box, basically.
Yeah, right. Okay. That's all my photos that I had.
Oh, cool. Glenn. All right, I might just take those off then. That's been really, really interesting. So, I was looking at my list of questions. So I can see one of my questions is, what's your favourite kit? But it seems to be Fronius. Would I be right?
Yeah, look, I mean, I've been working with Fronius for, since we're back at Solco. So for, 15 years, I don't know. I mean, I put an IG15 in my property, my first house overbought, and it's still running today. I don't know how old that place must be. 13 years old. Did
you remember to cover the little LCD screen with the sliding piece?
Yeah, yep. Mum's one. I got one at Mum's, and that still gets all the moisture in it. But look, I mean, I'm not wedded to it, but it's a really good brand. I like the story, and I think when you're sitting down with people talking about, everything, recyclability, and what companies are committed to, I think Fronius for me is a standout, especially going to their facility in Austria. Made it really clear. But look, we're not exclusive to that. There's lots of other brands we use.
I mean, just going back to Fronius for a minute, when you look at the history, I mean, it's tremendous. They're like a 100-year-old company. But in terms of inverters, the IG, series, they weren't great. They learnt from their mistakes, and they just took this quantum leap to the snap. And so, that's a great thing to see a company do that, and make a really awesome product. And they really consulted with us a lot. So Australia seems to be one of their favourite markets.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, a lot of the other person who's helped me a lot a long time ago was Mark Norman. He worked at Solar Energy at Solco, and he had a lot to do with that IG. I think it was the DC board, the cover, the coating. I think it was the coating on the DC board that wore out. So he did a lot of work with that, and they did. They came to the party and fixed the problem, and the rest is history. But the snap was a killer. And
with that built-in interlocking, which they were basically, them and Enersol, the only inverters on the market that had a built-in compliant DC isolator.
Yep. So, but look, that's good. We like Selectronics for off-grid as well.
I've got to pick you up on that one. It's not plural. Apparently, it's a sackable offence. Yeah.
Really?
Yep. If you buy two of them, you got two Selectronic inverters.
Oh, right. So they're like sheep.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
It's actually a family name. So it's the Scott family, Electronic Scott, Selectronic.
Oh, right. Gotcha. Okay. I'll see how I go. I'm not good with compliance. So,
fortunately, you're not working for them, so you won't be sacked. But there you go. I'll get a tick from Lindsay for pulling it up on that one. So he's always kind of, you got to say it properly, Glenn. Okay, yep, we'll do. Hey, let's take a really big tack change. Yeah. So when we were, talking before the show, you said you're involved with a charity, and it's got a very personal connection. So should we just go over to that? And
yeah, sure. So I'll take the opportunity to take a bit of a plug.
Yep.
Yeah. Look, last year I got a double diagnosis, a double cancer diagnosis. So I had to go and have some surgery to get a cancer removed, and I still have a blood cancer that I deal with. And I was fortunate enough to have a great work colleague, James Charles. He helped me out, and we, it was a tough year last year for me personally, and with COVID and everything. But that aside, I got through a lot of that, and coming out the other side. Actually, I'll stop a second. I'll recommend everyone to go and donate blood, because that's actually how I found out about my cancers that I had. So, I wanted to go and do something good. I went and donated some blood, and the results from that actually came back saying that there was a problem, and that led to my diagnosis. But yeah, look, we went through a lot of tough times, but coming out the other side, James, who's probably one of the best procurement guys in the country, he was like, mate, we've got to do something, and we'll do a ride. And his family had been affected by cancer, and so we started a team called the PV Chain Gang. So I thought it was sort of good name. Felt like we'd go and do some destruction with some tire irons and stuff, little chain gang. And look, it was great. I had people from Infinite, from Solar Gain, from Delta, from Sanic. I'm probably going to miss a bunch of people. Guys from all our competitors and people that we worked with came and joined our team, and we did a 200k bike ride to raise money, and the team raised 45 grand last year.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. And we had lots of help from from Fronius and Clenergy, SunPower. There's going to be heaps of other companies. LG gave us some money, Solar Juice. There are tons of people that donated. And yeah, look, we're doing it again. We're mid-October, the ride is. So we're going to start our chain gang again. We've got some of the guys at Solar Gain and Infinite. Some of the guys at Weststate are going to come down. Hopefully, Shane from Delta. He's great. Really good bike rider too, so he's handy to have in the team. He's going to come along. But yeah, we want to see if we can raise some more money than we did last year. It goes to the Perkins Institute over here. And look, I think for me, it's a tough one to get started with each time. Like we've just started rolling and getting ready to promote the ride again. It's taxing, mentally sort of thing. But in the last 12 months, there's people at my previous work that have been diagnosed. Chris Taylor from Reclaim, he had the identical same cancer as me that he's gone in and been operated on. There's people everywhere that are affected by it, and yeah, we just want to try and do our bit, and it feels good. Like it did feel really good, doing the ride, raising the money. But probably the best thing out of it was everyone that donated. They all had a story, and everyone's got a story. And the amount of people that emailed me, I was in tears a lot of the time, with parents who had passed away, or brothers or sisters or friends, and just how widely it affects everybody. So yes, I really want to see if anyone's out there and they're happy to donate. Please, there's a link.
So let's just run through that again. So cancer200.org, is that fundraising for Perkins Institute? Is that how it works?
That's correct. Yeah,
okay,
that's correct. And so so our team's there. You can see our list of riders there. And if anyone's in WA and wants to ride, then come join the team. But that's probably more. We probably want more riders than we do donations, even though donations are great. But ideally, we want people to ride and stay fit and healthy, because that's the best way to prevent cancer.
You better hit up Jim from Gen Z. He's a big cycle fan.
Yeah. No, we
get him on the chain gang.
We use Gen Z batteries. They've been really good. But I will hit up Jim. Don't worry about that.
Oh, cool. Well, look, I'm really glad to hear your story there. In fact, that's a really good point. Donate blood is a great double benefit. You're helping others, and you may well catch yourself before it's too late. So, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And if you're in WA, I know you get a really good feed afterwards.
Cup of tea.
Huh? A cup of tea, chocolate, sausage rolls. It's
really?
It's a win-win. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, look, it's been great talking to you today, Rohan.
Awesome.
Yeah. And look,
thanks, Glenn.
I hope to actually meet you in the flesh sometime when we're allowed to travel again. I do love coming over to Perth. It is, a beautiful city and great climate. Well, most of the time. Yeah. All right.
Awesome.
Well, I'll see you around.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Bye for now.
Cheers. Bye.
Well, that was Rohan McGlew from WA. Really good talking to him, and thanks everyone for watching. We had a great audience today and lots of participation. And I can see a bit of self-help going on there with the audience. Someone offering solar panels. I should point out that Scott Phillips is saying that he's already distributed something like 500 modules to South Australia, or SA, or maybe Zambia. It's Africa, but it's a different part. So yeah, good on you, Scott. That's really good to hear. Or maybe not donate, but shipped over there. So yeah, this is the end of the show. I just want to remind everyone, if you're enjoying the shows, give us a thumbs up and a like and all the usual stuff. And look, I can be contacted through other ways. So I've got there's the YouTube channel where there's a lot of free content. So I'm always making training materials, reviews of products and stuff on there. I'm a little bit Twittery, not very much, but you can see me there occasionally, Insta a few pictures, but mostly it's my channel on YouTube. So anyway, thanks everyone, and I'm out of here.